The new WBO Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Jamel Herring.
All right. I'm Drake Demore, and we're back here at Central Combat Sports for another edition of the Combat Corner. As Fit for Life goes on, as we talked about earlier, or last week on the show. I'm here with Cedric Ben, back at the club. What's up, man?
Good, man. Good. This past weekend, we had it was a kind of a quiet weekend for fights. A couple of matchups, but nothing big. We had Jamel Herring versus I'll say Mr. E2 because I don't want to butcher his first name. It starts with an M, about 10 letters. It was a good match. Jamel Herring won by unanimous decision. It was a big win for him. He's a new lightweight champion. He's been a pro for a few years now. He has an interesting story. He's been in and out of his pro boxing career because he's in the U.S. Marines. So I'm not sure how the timing works, but every once in a while he has to leave and go out. He's actually been out to actual war a couple of times. So he's been doing that. He had a big tragedy last year. His daughter passed away from SIDS. But anyway, he has the lightweight title. Some good fighters at that lightweight division, so he has a tough future, but I'm sure he'll come through. This weekend, big matchup: Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. Understanding your opponent. So this is specifically for the fighters. One of the main things, if you're facing someone that's in an orthodox stance, so if you have the left foot forward and the other person also has their left foot forward, the main thing that people try to say is avoid their right hands, which means you would be moving to your right, not moving to your left, which would be into that person's right hand. But that's not always the case, because that would be if they do have a right hand. But a lot of times, and specific examples like Oscar De La Hoya and Miguel Cotto, they've been known for the whole careers for having hard jabs and hard left hooks, and that's because they're actually left-handed, right? So in cases like that, they're both orthodox fighters, but they it would be wrong for you to specifically move to the right. That's exactly what they want you to do. So my whole point of saying that is just making sure you understand your opponent, understanding their weaknesses and strengths. That's specifically for facing someone. If you're orthodox and facing someone else in an orthodox stance, or if both of you guys are southpaw. If you're facing, now this is something different. If you're facing someone in a southpaw stance, so if you're orthodox and facing the other person's southpaw, or the other way around, the most common thing that you'll hear is the person who has their foot on the outside will have the advantage with the cross, because it's more in a straight line with the other person's chin. But again, there's a few cases where that might not be the situation. Last week I spoke about athletes that have that special athletic gift, like Deontay Wilder, with that extra power. Well, the way that you could nullify that is the other thing. Athletic gift is having speed. So it doesn't matter if the other person is in a better position to hit you. If you're faster than you can land a punch. Yeah.
Or if you want to compensate for that athleticism, just do the technique right. Just do it a million times. Right?
Yes, exactly. Just one quick example I could give you. My favorite fighter of all time, Roy Jones Jr. You can YouTube this fight. Roy Jones versus Reggie Johnson. Roy Jones, who was an orthodox fighter. Reggie Johnson was a southpaw light heavyweight champion. And just a perfect display. There's plenty of times where Reggie Johnson had his foot on the outside and attempted to land, and he did throw with perfect technique. But when you have that extra athleticism gift, Roy had that speed. It doesn't matter if you're out of position, you can still land those punches. So understanding your opponent is the main thing that I want to talk about. And real quickly too, another tip is for when just a specific drill when you're hitting the bag to help you hit more with accuracy. You've seen, there's plenty of times where you're watching a fight and a guy might have, be bleeding, bloody nose, bloody eye, but they can still come forward. But it's the chin that makes everyone stop. So landing with accuracy, landing with the back of your knuckles. So a drill that I have guys do is specifically hitting the bag, not with power, but with no gloves on, just specifically landing punches, all your punches with the back of your knuckles. Again, with no power. So like when you're hitting the bag, it shouldn't be making a noise at all. But you're still going through all the fundamental punches, jabs, straight punches, hooks, uppercuts, and everything. Landing, so landing with the knuckles, and then making sure you're landing on the chin, just like if you're throwing darts, hitting the bullseye.
I think this might be a good way to tie it into some recent videos you made on YouTube.
Yes.
You used to do them, I don't know, more often, but it looks like you're starting to do some more instructionals and kind of techniques and breakdown stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to keep up. Just trying to keep it simple. There's nothing, one of the most common things that I say in most of my classes is master the fundamentals. Master the fundamentals. Again, going back to great fighters, not just boxers, but MMA fighters that you can fight with your hands down and have do all that stuff. But the main thing is mastering the fundamentals. You still have to understand how to block with your hands up, how to slip, how to step to the side, how to step to the side without crossing your feet.
Yeah,
right?
That's pretty much going to win you fights, right?
Exactly.
The fundamentals, and that's the thing. You're not going to see like, okay, here's how you knock someone out on Cedric Trading Sports. You're going to see the fundamentals of the 1-2 straight cross, like we talked about last week, and just using the jab. I know those are the two that you made, and I know you made another one, so that's pretty cool.
So so it was the learning how to throw the jab properly. I stuck specifically with the straight punches, learning how to throw the jab properly. The next video was the cross, and the other one was the 1-2, just putting those together. And again, landing with the knuckles, landing at full extension. That's where all the power comes from, at full extension. Not all the power, but from the upper body, lower body, turning the hips, pivoting that back foot, putting the weight onto your front leg when you're throwing that cross. All right, not seat when you're throwing that jab, not something called a seesaw when people just jump. You're not putting all your weight onto your front leg, right? It's not like front leg to back leg. You're still keeping your weight balanced in the center. You're just stepping hard with that front foot. So yeah, check out those videos.
Yeah, that all makes sense and breaks it down pretty easily, right? So that's pretty much it. We're gonna wrap this one up pretty early. We still have the MMA coming up 2 weeks from Saturday at St. Denis Center. Save your tickets for that, because not only can you get into Cheetahs after, official after party is at Leopards. This is awesome. This is great. So, and really quickly, actually, something that I've been meaning to bring up. How about them fucking Raptors, man?
Yes.
Holy shit. That's so awesome to see a Canadian team. That's my, basketball alone, Canadian team in the finals, first time ever.
Yes, man.
You got your GoFundMe going or what?
Yeah. Yes, I'm trying.
Send Cedric to the final. Send him to Game 7. And they got home court advantage, too.
Yes, that's the biggest thing.
It's unreal.
First 2 games in Toronto, Thursday and Saturday. This is history, man. I really, I definitely would like it if I could make a trip to that Jurassic Park.
Yeah, even if you don't go to a game, just go there, go somewhere.
I heard it is pretty crazy.
I've been there. I went to Jurassic Park last year,
really,
or 2 years ago, but they got swept by Cleveland. No one was there. You see it now. There's more people there than there was for the Leafs. It's insane. The Game 7, it was backed up to. I don't even know what street.
Hunter, actually, one of my boxes was there. He said there was like 20,000 people there.
Yeah, and so for listeners, a little good tip, and for yourself, the first closest part of it, you'll see different fences. That first section is the only section that serves food and drink. The rest are just crowds of people just sitting in there.
So how do you have to pay to get into that?
No, it's all free. It's all free to get in.
It's just first come, first serve.
First come, first serve. However many people in the first little part, then they just keep packing it in just to be there. Unless they change, I went for the Leafs playoffs last month, and we were in a section just with people, just nothing to do besides watch the TV. So go 7 o'clock in the morning. I seen people. I live in Toronto. Had people in their Snapchat last night just sleeping outside of Scotiabank Arena to buy tickets for Thursday. So line up early.
Yeah, man, this is history, man. This will be something if they can do it, man. And I think they really have a good chance.
They do. They really do.
They beat Golden State earlier in the season.
Yeah, they beat them in the
without Kawhi Leonard, and Golden State had everyone. So yeah,
and
the finals.
Durant's hurt.
He is. He's unfortunately he's hurt. No, he's a great player.
I did see today he's going to Toronto. He's going to be in Toronto, but they haven't said if he's playing yet or not. So
I think he's just there because you still have, just so you still have to game plan for him, just so you know,
just in case. Right?
Yeah, just in case. But they said he's most likely not going to be playing Game 1, but.
Yeah.
That's still, they still have a bunch of other firepower with Curry and Clay and Draymond and the rest of the boys.
Shoot.
For all my for all my Caribbean people out there, we officially are not cooking any curry until after the finals. So no cooking with curry. That's from legendary rapper from Toronto, Cardinal Official. There's no curry cooking until after the NBA finals.
You heard it here first.
All right.
Go Raptors.